Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a circuit that demands absolute precision, bravery, and just a little bit of luck. Tonight I'm your host, Sagar Bakshi, and it's green, green, green here at the Miami Autodromo Internazionale. Side by side, there goes Sean Stam, the Stam Man, and the 000 as well.
Papa Green made up 3 positions in 2 laps. With Leslie Simpkins now throws his elbows out at Druid.
Tonight, while Mount Fuji stands beyond the circuit. But tonight, the real challenge lies directly ahead. 90 minutes of multi-class endurance racing where outright speed must coexist with patience, discipline, and constant traffic management. Big Power Hunters, partnered with Sausage Dodgers Racing, brings the GTP and GT3 fields to Fuji Speedway. A circuit defined by one of the longest straights in motorsport and a final sector that demands precision at much lower speeds. The GTP machines will arrive with enormous closing speed, while the GT3 drivers fight their own battles and protect their racing lines, the most technical part of the lap. Every pass between classes carries risk. Every compromised exit onto the main straight costs valuable time. Over the course of 90 minutes, the fastest car will not necessarily be the one that reaches the finish first. Strategy, tire management, pit execution, and survival through traffic will all play a part. The prototypes are ready to attack. The GT3 field is prepared to defend its ground. And Fuji is about to become a constantly changing puzzle of speed and opportunity. This is the Big Power Hunters Endurance Tour presented by Sausage Dodgers Racing. An endurance competition at Fuji Speedway is about to begin. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another fantastic round presented by Big Power Hunters for the Endurance Tour. Couple keys to the race for the drivers tonight: manage the multi-class traffic through Sector 3. It will be most important there. Prioritizing the launch onto the main straight being key number 2. Balancing the life over against early pace. So just judging when the tire life will fade on the cars is going to be a challenge, especially under these conditions where the possibility of rain is on the horizon. Execute those pit stops without losing track position, fuel calculations, driver changes, not here, but perhaps in real life, and tire decisions and pit entry timing will all shape the end result for the field. Teams must also be aware of traffic cycles and when the best opportunity to cycle back into traffic will be, so let's keep an eye on that. Tonight, I'm your host, Sagar Bakshi, as always, taking you from green to checker flag on behalf of Sausage Dodgers Racing. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Augusto Sicosio running right now, around 6/10 down that last time by the Italian man from Racing Point. What is he able to do from 7th place in the class? Split qualifying here will be open, but split up into the 2 classes, folks. So if you're wondering where the GTPs are at, well, they'll get their 15 minutes of fame and glory as well. Don't you worry. Scosio trying to improve this last time around, but Fiore is the one that goes all the way up into P4 for the number 83 Lamborghini. A tough crowd out there tonight. A lot of the long leg Lamborghinis really showing what they're capable of doing. Ton of Racing Point drivers out there as well. The first 7 are littered with Italian drivers. There it is. Augusto Sicosio finds P1 that last time around. There we go. I knew Sicosio had it in him. And that'll be a trip to pit lane. Hello, Galactic Gremlin. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Alicio Carino. Well, what can he do from less than a 10th back from Augusto Sicosio? Driving the Cavalieri Rampanti. The Ferrari. The one sandwiched right between 2 to the front and 2 to the rear. Taking a look at the lap times. What can Carino produce? Will it be any improvement as he crosses the line? 134.814. Not good enough on that last occasion. But take a look here. Mattia Pendelli is trying to find pole position with the purple middle sector, but couldn't keep it going at the end of the day. Vincenzo Sagnino, August Cruz, Nick Ewers, Diego Fiore, all out trying to stitch together laps. Let's look at Cruz now and see what he can do. Oh, that's a big 50-50 grind as Cruz was on his way to improve. That will be a trip to pit lane to stack him up and re-rack him. But take a look here. Carino has a little help. The 666 with the devil horns perhaps can get something done. Let's see what Carino can do. Flashy of the headlights as Carino gets a little bit of tow. Going down to the line. Does he have it with him? Carino does go up to provisional P2, but not enough at the end of the day for the pole position that Sicosio has coveted. Lloyd Butler, I hope everything is okay. I hope everything is okay, brother. Let us know if there's anything that we could do to support you. We will do everything we can, man. Hope everything's all right for your son, brother. I hope he recovers quickly on behalf of all the sausages here. A little bit of teamwork going on here between the two Italian drivers. Toes down the front stretch. Fiore in the toe, 147. Not good enough. Cheers for Carino in chat. Uncle Lloyd, hope everything's all right, brother. Let us know if there's anything we can do to extend you a little bit of love and support beyond the broadcast, obviously. Lap times coming in, though, with less than a tenth separating the top three drivers. Absolute insanity. Then Casimiri in fourth, Flore in fifth, in the pit lane, Pinadelli in sixth, Dagnito. Seventh, Andrew Kapoulis in eighth, Sitnik, Sahula. It rounds out your top 10. Take a look here, Mattia Pendinelli, excuse me, improves through sector 1, improves in sector 2, finds purple sector 2 in fact, and then loses time in sector 3. 134.706 will put him up into 4th position. Qualifying is concluded, and that will be it for half the sausages that are trying to be dodged tonight. The other half of the sausages are rolling out to the field right now. The GTPs, their time to shine. One more lap from Mattia Ubertalia, looks like. Here comes in the 21, but only the sausages to trickle out now. Tim Williams, will take a look at him. And the onboard with Tim Williams, we'll take a look and see how it feels to be on board with one of these GTPs. Coming in towards turn 1 of Daiichi, you come down one of the longest stretches in motorsports, 1.5 kilometers long back stretch. You have 131 feet of elevation change to contend with. It all starts here. Come down into Daiichi and through the kink of turn 2 down to turn 3, which is Coca-Cola. Brief downshift into 4th gear and you mount the curbs on exit, but not that much there, Tim Williams, as you'll probably have track limits violation. Take it slow and steady around 100R, that's 4 and 5, and then you get squared up for the hairpin. Hairpin is nice and slow, mid-speed sector here through sector 2. 7, 8, 9, invert that conversation to be the highest speed corners on the racetrack. Getting all the way down to Dunlop Corner is when you square things up. You shoot out of turn 10, and then you get squared up for nets, turn 13 and turn 14. Before flipping it back around to turn 15. After you come back around Panasonic, this will be the final corner on the racetrack. It'll get punched out in a straight line. Time's trickling in. Van Gastel donating a little bit of time. Dan Miller donating a little bit of time. But Paul Rocky Cook trickling in also. Mark Richards up into second, driving the Cadillac. 0.6 off of Gastel's pace. Benedetto De Vezzo out there trying to warm up some tires as we take a look at Robert Svor next. Where does he end up? Because his time's seemingly improved out of nowhere. Here comes Svor across the line. What kind of time can he stitch together? Apparently not a valid one. Over to Pim Van Gastel. The Ardent Motorsports driver, new to the championship, from what I can tell, and I've been here quite some time. Gastel running the number 10 Porsche has the best time by 0.6 of a second. Seemingly out there to improve that lap time. That 1:28.152 won't stand much longer as Gastel punches it across the stripe. What can he ordain for himself? Mark Richards finding some positive time. Purple sector's there, but Mark Richards in the background finds provisional pole. Excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît. You all know what happens when my French comes out. You know that means I got excited. Mark Richards with a 1:26.904. Oscar Corbett less than a tenth back, 1:26.994 with Oleg Karmanov in his machinery. Ferrari back in third. Here we go. This is exactly what you wanted to see coming into a championship, folks. You wanted to see drivers duking it out even before the checkered flag, before the green flag flew. Gabbiati into the pits right now. Dan Miller finding positive gains through Sector 1 and Sector 2. Oh, and there's a spinner. The number 74, Paul Rocky Cook, was on a fast one as well and will lose the time. I wonder if that hurts anybody else that was on a fast one. Mark Richards, Dan Miller. Mark Richards falls back by nearly 0.2. Karmanov up into second place in front of Richards by 0.003 of a second. Tremendous run. Then we have Miller, Efnick, Cook, Williams, Gabbiati, Loire, Vizo, West, out of nowhere. Michael D. West, the driver with no affiliation, apparently, comes in, stacks them up, and racks them at Fuji. Throws down a hefty gauntlet by 0.5 second, folks. Holy Toledo. Oleg Karmanov as well, looking to improve. Dan Miller, the South African, improves himself. Finds out what pole position feels like for a blink of an eye. As the slingshots keep coming back and forth. Cheers for Thomas Oliviati might have been heard as Oliviati pulls out purple sector 1, green in sector 2. What is sector 3 like coming out of Panasonic? The Cadillacs are showing what they're capable of today. 3 in the top 5. Not too shabby of a run. Oliviati couldn't get one done that last time around. It was a 1:26.51. Just 6 minutes remain or under on the clock, and the drivers better get their qualifying done sooner rather than later. Marino Kolaric is going to be a driver that's been suffering right now, running in P15. Definitely not where he deserves to be. Marino is a driver that's usually a mid-pack guy in his own right, so expect him to climb up through the ranks throughout his run. What can be said about this man right here, James Piper? He is a student driver. We all were aware of that well, in fact, before the stream. The fact that it had to be said on his car, well, that just says more about his talent and skill. Just kidding, James. We all love you, of course. Love you, James. James was asking me about doing a special promo Charizard livery for his car, and that would be quite great, actually. Love to see what he'd be able to produce. Back to the racing action with final 5 of qualifying upon us. Benedetto Dovezzo, Tim Williams, and James Piper are all separated by just about nothing right now. Nearly identical lap times between the trio. Top 5 under a blanket of 1 second right now. Make that top 6, 7. I did not mean to do that. I apologize. I apologize. My apologies. My apologies. Please do not roast me in the chat for saying that. We do have the top 7 within 1 second or thereabouts. James Piper improves with a 126.534. Good enough for 7th position there. Not shabby. A driver that usually finds improvements and strides throughout the race heat. Thomas Oliviati just barely outside of pole position. Holy smokes. Taking a look one more time at what Piper can produce here. That'll be it for him, it looks like. Conclusion of the session about to be honest. Let's take a look at Mark Richards now. I think the drivers are just toting around to get comfortable with the racetrack at this point. Mark Richards, what can you do from P4? And we'll take a look at the championship points during our warm-up period. championship points are, of course, very tight as we get into the second round. That'll be it for most of the field with seconds remaining. Will anybody get last laps done? Doesn't look like it. No one out there to improve on the current attempt. Ethnic, Michael West, Benedetto De Vezzo, all finishing up their laps now. That'll be it for the SDR. What about from Michael D. West? Driver who held on to pole position for a little bit of time, but not nearly long enough. A little trip down pit road to practice that. And that will send us out. How about now, Pim Van Gastel? Is it still doing that? We'll get the results here for the qualifying session in just a moment. Let's take a look at the GT3s. It'll be Sicosio, Carino, and Ubertali, all separated by less than half of a tenth. Over to the GTPs, it'll be Dan Miller, Oliviati, separated by half of a tenth there. Michael D. West in third. Take a look at those championship points before we take a starting look at our grid. In the GT3s, it'll be Alicio Carino, Casimiri, Ubertali, Fiore, Aciero, Garcia, Zazera, Stagnito, Fomin, Sicosio in the top 10. Bellino, Bavarak, Minetti, Shula, Zagavin, Angelo Capoulis, Ruhal, and Kesterton rounded out there. In the GTPs, however, it's Thomas Oliviati, Michael West, Mark Richards, Pim Van Gastel, James Piper, Toby Deck, Constantino Sikalaitis, Chris Carr, Robert Ford, Danny Mofat, Mauro Gabbiati, Tim Williams, Oleg Karmanov, Oscar Corbett, Benedetto De Vezzo, Daniel Miller, Marino Clark, and Floyd Butler. Now let's take a look at our starting grid, shall we? It'll be Dan Miller and Thomas Oliviati on that first row. Further back, it'll be Michael D. West and Mark Richards. After that, James Piper and Pim Van Gastel on the third. Our number 4 belongs to Oleg Karmanov and Oscar Corbett. This is the fifth row, excuse me. Paul Cook and Rodden Efnick. This is the sixth row. On the sixth, it'll be Robert Svor and Tim Williams. Row number 7 belongs to Mauro Gabbiati and Benedetto De Vizzo. Marino Clark and Konstantinos Nicolaitis on row number 8. Row number 9 for Pao Visconti and Augusto Sacosio. Following that, Alessio Carino and Matteo Ubertali. On row number 11, it'll be Mattia Penedelli and Alejandro Casmide Ale. After Ale, it's Fiore and Vincenzo Stagnino. Row number 13, Angelo Capoulas and Sitnik. Row number 14, Sahula and Artem Fomin. After Fomin, it'll be Kuz and Uilal. Mr. Kesterton and Nick Ewers on row number 16. Row number 17 for Andrea Zavagin and Ladislav Babarak. Number 18 is Lonely for Damiano Bellino. And here we are ready to take the green flag in just a few moments. The GT3 separated by the GT3s. Ready to go. Green, green, green. Driver's bated breath with anticipation here. Everybody's jostling for position on the race start. Green flag and everybody's breaking away. The GT3s have caught up to the GTPs and there's absolute mayhem in the background. Look at what's happening in Fuji. The racing point of Augusto Sacosio must have taken off like a rocket ship on that race start. The race director will definitely have his work cut out for him tonight. Edoy Tech saying the first GT3 starter before the green flag. As I said, the stewards are going to have their work cut out for them tonight to deal with that situation. Perhaps we have a race restart. I'm not even sure. Throw out a quick caution here and restart the race is the only thing that I could think of. Perhaps that is an option with our live stewards available, but battles still happening on the racetrack. Mark Richards trying to duke it out with D West right now. Background, Piper and Corbett. In their battle for second in class. The chase is on. And here we go across the stripe. Into turn 1, Piper goes deep and wide, crosses over in front of Oscar Corbett. I'm sure isn't too pleased about that. Yeah, flashy of the headlights there from Corbett. Mattia Pendinelli is here, chasing down his teammate Carino. Who's also up one position. Pendinelli is up 2 in the class and overall as well. Benedetto De Vizzo in a little bit of trouble as there goes a spinner. That's Konstantinos Nicolaitis. And Nicolaitis having a big spin. Let's see if we can find a replay of what happened here. Oh, 2 does not go into 1 in that situation. I'm not sure who that was. Well, it looked like the incident was brewing on from way earlier on in the event. Nicolaitis just got the worst of it there. He's going to fall back into the GT3 field and have to deal with this traffic earlier on than he expected. Same for a lot of the GTPs. They thought they wouldn't have to deal with GT3s for quite some time, but on the opening lap, as soon as the green flag dropped, The GTPs definitely had their work cut out for them in the backfield as the GT3s were charging them down. Couple of black flags coming out now. I'm sure that has something to do with the race start. Checking the steward's room. Oscar Corbett in the Sausage Dodger. Mattia Ubertali gets a black flag penalty as well. Here we go. Battles in the background. Pim van Gastel has Robert Sfor behind, but Oleg Karmanov alongside him. No longer alongside, fully in front. Gastel gets in front of Karmanov. Oscar Corbett in a little bit of hectic trouble himself because he sees Robert Rodden Efnick up ahead. Here we go with the beautiful drag down the backstretch. In towards turn one's braking zone. It will be the inside line for the McLaren, Andreas Zavakin. Oscar Corbett still going wheel to wheel with Efnick right now. And that bout hasn't continued to stop any time. Feel like this might be one of the ones that continues to go all the way to the checkered flag. And drivers serving their drive-through penalties coming down pit road. So those pit stops are not from race control. Let's go through some of them. Demino Bellino, Ubertali, Sahula, Angelo Capoulis, Kuz, and Nicolaitis all made trips down pit road for one reason or another. None of them were for steward reasons. All of them seemingly involved with incidents as earlier on. Nicolaitis involved with an incident. Let's see what happened here. Is this a repeat of what we saw earlier with the 32? Or is this just him parking it and calling it a day? Well, that might be the end of a race for Konstantinos Nicolaitis. Look at this packed battle of GT3s, though. This has that gaggle of Italians we were talking about earlier. Sacosio, Pinadelli, Carino, Fiore, Casimiri, Stagnito. Too far back to be included in this Italian brunch, but I'm sure there'll be leftovers for him. Angela Kapoulis here. On wheel to wheel with Kuz. Kuz comes out of the final corner. And the Turkish driver due to the Greek driver. Nick Ewers, the sausage dodger, number 55, is behind Zavagin. As the race brews on. Oh, Rita. Ooh, here. In a bit of trouble right now. As they're missing a front nose. Trying to find an incident there, but not seeing it. But Uhila is going to drop like a stone despite being up 4 positions. And continue to drop like a stone, missing that front body. Tim Williams chases down a fellow sausage dodger, or should I say he's chased down by a fellow sausage dodger, the number 74, Paul Rocky Cook. Paul Rocky Cook chases down Tim Williams in their battle for 11th and 12th place between the two sausages. Paul Rocky Cook has been that much faster lap over lap on Big Tim. Paul Rocky Cook needs to control his tires right now and possibly preserve them for longevity. As he tries to sit behind Williams, he could potentially overdrive his car and outrun the life on them. We're only 11 minutes into this one, folks, and we still have a long way left to go, so settle in. Grab your popcorn, grab your beverage of choice, settle in for a good time and a long time. This track offers one of the most iconic backdrops in motorsport, but unfortunately we can barely see it today due to the cloud coverage. Paul Rocky Cook to the inside line at Panasonic. That's definitely not where you want to be, though. Coming down the front stretch, now we have lap traffic becoming a thing. That's the Aston Martin of Mr. Andrew Kesterton. Side by side drafting all the way down the nearly 1 mile or 1.5 kilometer long back stretch. Cook goes in too deep, but he's able to carry the speed on corner exit with that momentum all the way down to Coca-Cola. Lap traffic giveth, lap traffic taketh away in the same breath. Is that true for the 991 right now? They cut through 300R with grace around the Porsche. Seemingly doesn't even exist. Fiore and Carino exchange a couple of blows, and the TRT machine cuts through like a knife at Coca-Cola. Holy Toledo, Mr. Carino. What a race. Let's keep our eyes glued here for a little bit as the GTP field battles begin to fizzle out into the 1 second range. We'll keep our eyes glued here to the GT3s that stay dynamic. All the cars on track getting clumped together as they finish off their 10th and 11th laps. Oh my goodness. This is exactly what you love to see in multi-class racing. This high-speed commitment going through 300R into the braking zone of Dunlop Corner. absolutely love the gopher cams. The sounds, the sights, everything about them is tremendous. The TRT driver is going wheel to wheel. And that's Mattia Pendinelli getting out of the way of another TRT teammate. As I'm definitely interested to find out what will be done with the GT3 field post-race for starting under, under caution, really. $20 minutes of the 130 under our belt at this point. Alessio Carino, driver who's been making moves all night long, sees Casimiri Ale up the road. Is that another TRT driver? Let's take a look at Casimiri. No, it'll be a Team Racing Point driver, TRP, excuse me. Here comes the look at Dunlop, but no doing just yet. He'll stay steadfast for now. Sits back and waits, bides his time, waiting for this opportunity to strike. A little bit of weaving from Casimiri Ale. Into the braking zone of Daichi. It's to no avail. The draft wasn't strong enough just yet. Mark Richards in a little bit of a pickle right now because he's got James Piper all over his rear wing. Piper to the inside at Panasonic, sees that he's battling for a podium and wants a chance at it himself. That attempt on Mark Richards' life cost him half a second to Michael D. West in another Cadillac. 3 Cadillacs running 2, 3, and 4, and then Piper, the lonely Ferrari, in 5th. Alessio Carino now again on the back wing of Ale. Two battles brewing currently, the one with Mark Richards and Piper in the GTPs, excuse me. And we also have the same one going on in the GT3 category for third. Casimiri chases down, Carino chases down Casimiri up ahead. But again, no doing coming down into turn one. Might have to wait for a little bit of traffic to help him out as the TRT pilot sits a little patiently back. As you can see there, Alejandro Carino faster that last time out. There you can see the gap progression and how dramatically it's come down, but now Carino has his teammate all over his rear wing. Needs to start worrying about that a little bit also. Pipers falls back from Richards by 1.2 seconds currently in their fight for the podium, but Richards, however, has closed down his margin on Michael D. West. Running around Alicio Carino, Casimiri Ale, the team Racing Point driver, and include Mattia Penadelli. Checking with those GTPs, it'll be Richards and Piper. Richards gets through at Coca-Cola. Piper has to sit back and wait behind Ewers. James Piper in that 999 behind Mark Richards. Let's check out the head-to-head and see what the lap times look like. That last time by ended up being 7/10 quicker, but on the previous runs, either matched or was down. So much traffic, and there it is, a big incident. And that was the BMW, I think, of Roberts Vladislav Babarak is the driver that got spun there. Driving ninth position with 10 up. Look at this trajectory. has been 10 up and still just continues to run a quiet and deadly race. Started at the very back of the pack, all the way in P34, and worked his way up the grid through grit and determination. Babrak a little too far back to get anything done. Karmanov there outside of class. No point in fighting that one. As we approach the halfway point of the race, let's go ahead and check in with our race leader and, of course, our title sponsor. If you like what you see and you want to get involved in more Sausage Dodgers action, make sure you scan that QR code on your screen. Get involved in the Sausage Dodgers Racing League on SimGrid and get yourself inserted into the Discord to get signed up for all of the racing news, get into events like today's. Big shout out and thanks to our title sponsor, Big Power Hunter. Check them out on Instagram at Big Power Hunter. They built one of the fastest, if not the fastest convertible in the world. Today's stream is proudly sponsored by Big Power 100. If you love high-performance cars, incredible builds by all things automotive, make sure you give them a follow by scanning the QR code on your screen or searching Big Power Hunter on Instagram. The amazing cars you'll see featured on their page have been expertly built by ES Motors, whose craftsmanship has helped create some truly outstanding machines. A huge thank you to Big Power Hunter for supporting Sausage Dodgers Racing in tonight's live stream. Check in with Dan Miller first. He's our fearless leader right now. The number 23 has a gap so big you could stuff a train of elephants on it. It's 6.5 seconds back to the next driver, who's Thomas Oliviati. Speaking of Oliviati, there he is in second place. Not too shabby of a run. Michael D. West, however, is under threat from Mark Richards and James Piper. As that rounds out our top three in the GTPs, let's check in with the GT3s. Augusto Sicosio leads by his own midfield double dash at 4.0 seconds right now to Alejandro Casmiri. Elisa Carini running in third, and we've kept our eye on him for quite some time. Fiore trying to get work done on Penedelli up ahead. Has a lot of traffic to contend with right now. Mark Richards tries to get things done, but what happened there? Here's Rodden Efnick getting through on one. James Piper, how does he get through on Mark Richards right after that? Just shakes off the draft and gets through. Holy Toledo. Back over to live. Efnick now with 6 up. Up into 4th place now. James Piper still behind Mark Richards, though. I feel like that battle's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Mark Richards continues to try to shake off James Piper, but can't do it. Like a tick to a dog, he is stuck on like a parasite. Carino all over the back of Casmidi Ale. Nose to tail right now, and here's where traffic definitely starts to become a problem as we see the 78 tries to go around. Going down the front stretch. There's the 10 with the fry. Give a little push to the other Italian manufacturer. I don't think so. No help doing there as he looks to the inside at turn number 1. They're going to get a little dicey with the elbows out, but the TRT machine cuts through and is into P2. Reno traced down by Casimiri. Don't forget about the other TRT driver of Pendinelli. Let me know in the YouTube chat who you're cheering on, folks. Love to hear your predictions in chat as well. Who's going to come out on top and who might be best of the rest. We also have concerns for fuel and tire strategy. As we saw during the keys to the race, we do have limited fuel loads for the field. Michael D. West and Efnick involved in an incident. See what happens here to Efnick. Oh, solo spin for the 18. And what happened here to the 47 right after that? A little sympathy spin coming out of Panasonic. So interestingly, now the podium battle lies between Piper and Richards. The Team Racing Point driver of Casimiri falls back behind Pendinelli. Take a look up here at Robert Spohr in the BMW, and pit stops are starting to become a thing. Robert Spohr, Paul Rocky Cook, both drivers into pit lane. Now let's see how much time is lost and where the drivers end up cycling out at the end of the day. Looks like not the greatest of pit stops for Robert Spohr, as that'll leave him catching the GT3 field on cold tires. Pit lane becomes electrified as Miller, West, Richards, Gastel, and Corbett all come through. Everybody on their way out. Here comes a drag out of pit road between Corbett and the green machine up the road of again Gastel. Thomas Oliviani now into the lead of this one, but only for a blink of an eye as he comes down pit road himself. Big off there for Mauro Gabbiati. As Mauro Gabbiati leads now in front of Pim Van Gastel and Oscar Corbett, the 998 pilot. Corbett has a little bit of help from behind. Rodden Effnick is there to keep everybody company. Rodden Effnick pulling off his signature move out of the final corner. Gets it all hooked up and squared up down the straightaway. Effnick goes up past Gastel. Excuse me, other way around. Side by side, going into Coca-Cola corner. Will be a nose ahead for Effnick. We're going to take a quick break, folks. Hold on 1 second. Restart there for pit stops in the GT3 field, but Alessio Carino is the driver that starts to stay out. Now, can Augusto Sicosio do anything to retort what Carino's strategy has unfolded? Now West and Corbett. Nose to tail right now. West now chases down Gastel in the battle for P5. West, who's down 3 positions right now, still has a lot of work he can do to catch back up. Everybody's got predictions for Mark Richards and Dan Miller in the YouTube chat. It's definitely about the witching hour now. 9 minutes remain to get to the 2/3 waypoint. Mattia Ubertali, the Italian man, has Alejandro Casimiri up the road. And don't forget about Penadelli, driver that was sitting in P3, but here comes Ubertali to come down pit road for another service. Bellino decides the same thing. What do the drivers know that we don't? Looks to be jacked up as well, so that will be fuel and tires for Mattia Ubertali. Hold your horses, because the battle for GT3 has come down to within 1 second. The 988 of Augusto Sicosio only leads by nearly 9/10 in front of Alicio Carino. Now traffic starts to giveth and taketh all in the same breath, folks. Side by side between GT3s and GTPs down the front stretch. Sicosio manages to stave off the attack, but big asterisk and underscore for now. Gap that was 1.9 seconds on the previous lap is slinkied back down to Sicosio. 1.5, 1.4. Looking at the track layout here, of course we have the full GP layout. Fuji also offers several short course variants for karting, drifting, and time attacks. Fuji is of course home for Super GT and a staple of WEC. Pim Van Gastel and Michael D. West on his recovery drive, still down 3 positions currently. Pim Van Gastel opens up his gap to Michael West. Now it's 1.4 seconds. Not too shabby. And there you can see the graph as the gaps keep slinking back and forth between Van Gastel and West. Oscar Corbett can pat himself on the back tonight as well, as Corbett in the 998 up 1 sits behind West. A big heavyweight contender here on the racetrack. But perhaps the Ardent West Motorsports driver is a little bit more human than we thought he was. Oscar Corbett gets a good run out of Panasonic, and he closed down the gap. He sits behind the slipstream of West. On board with Oscar Corbett right now. We'll ride on board for a full lap and listen on with the sounds of the Porsche before we go to sponsor recap. Let's check in with our sponsor and our top 10. A huge thank you to our sponsor, Big Power Hunter, for making tonight's stream possible. Big Power Hunter showcases some seriously impressive high-performance cars that are all built to standards set by ES Motors. So if you're into fast road cars, modified builds, or top-quality automotive content, check out Big Power Hunter and follow them on Instagram. Big shout out to Big Power Hunter for supporting the stream, keeping the lights on here at Sausage Dodgers Racing. If you like what you see and you want to get involved, scan that QR code on the bottom right-hand side of your screen to get inserted into the leagues here on SimGrid. Find yourself getting involved and joining our Discord as well. Back over to our race leader, it's Dan Miller taking the charge right now in front of Thomas Oliviani by 10 seconds. We have a 15-second gap back to Mark Richards in third. Barring any big mistakes from the top three, this might be locked in going into the final third. In the GT3 categories, it's just as quiet, but still as deadly. Augusto Sicosio right now leads Alicio Carino by 1.9 seconds. Mattia Pendinelli trails in third, but still has 4 positions gained to his name. It's not over yet because Casimiri is there trying to thwart any TRT victories. I'm new. Can you guys fill me in on like key stuff? What would you like to know in a nutshell, comedy? Are you new to sim racing? Are you new to sausage dodgers racing? Are you new to Assetto Corsa? What are you new to, my friend? And how can we help you get inserted into the sausage dodgers organization? I think step 1 would be to scan that QR code in the bottom right hand side of your screen and get yourself inserted into the sim grid. Can we get a Dan Miller on board, the race leader? Absolutely. Thank you very much for making the request. Let's see it. Here's the onboard from Miller. Let's actually go cockpit cam. Where is Miller now? Coming to the bottom of Dunlop now. Edoy Tech says next season they'd like to join. Well, step 1, go ahead and scan that QR code on the bottom right hand side of your screen. Make sure that one works. And step 2 is join us on Discord. Sausage Dodgers Racing Discord. That's where you'll find all the information, news, and announcements for the championship series. These are all free to enter championships. Completely free to enter for the public. There's no gatekeeping here. It's great that we have sponsors that pick up the tab, Patreon supporters that pick up the tab, such as Leslie Simpkins, one of our race stewards tonight, Andrew Kenny, Mark Richards, Jack McCarthy, Simon Darch, Richard Beaton. No, Leslie. Leslie is our race steward, excuse me. And Miller having to pick a line. Holy Toledo, talk about helter-skelter moments. Here we go. It's like Dan Miller is in a different category from the rest of the GTP field. And just listen to how patient he is on throttle application. Oh, and there's the door that was shutting. And that was the Racing Point leader, if I'm not mistaken. That was Augusto Sicosio, correct. South African man has been commanding this pack all race long. Around 300R, he tries to go the long way around the outside of the BMW. He's able to get that done. The 26 ends up doing no harm, no foul to Dan Miller's charge. Van Gastel into the pits. Carino and Sicosio nose to tail. I think that's Thomas Oliviati with the flashy of the headlights there. And he's easily past the two GT3 drivers up ahead. No problem, Edoy. Glad to help out. Thank you very much for supporting the Sausage Dodgers organization, my friend. A little bit of wiggles all around as the tires start to fade. I think the concentration is a little bit as well from some of the drivers that may have not practiced a full stint yet. Coming into the final 19 minutes of this event, folks. About to complete our 50th lap. Let me know if you guys need anything else in the YouTube chat. Let me know if there's anything else we can do to help you out be more successful here at Sausage Dodgers Racing. Carino chases down Sicosio, continuing his bout for P1. Here we go. The 998 maybe goes a little defensive. But it's a long way back for Carino right now. Final 15 as the GTPs cut through the GT3 field for what might be the final time tonight. Gap between Dan Miller and Thomas Oliviati, 10.5 seconds, with Mark Richards 16 seconds back from there. Robert Efnick in fourth, Michael D. West in fifth, Oscar Corbett in sixth, James Piper in seventh, Paul Rocky Cook in eighth, Oleg Karmanov in ninth, and Ben Gastel rounds out our top 10 in the GTP category. things have definitely quieted down into the final 15 as things were a lot more, well, electrified coming into the first 15 of this race. Efnick closes down his gap on Mark Richards, and the battle for the podium begins to brew in the final 15. Take a look at these lap times here. Oh, Efnick closes down that gap and margin. Oscar Corbett makes his final stop down pit lane as some drivers refuse to come down again. Go. What is Efnick going to do from P4, and how hard is he going to battle for P3? Not too hard, because Mark Richards makes a mistake all on his own. That'll be it. He'll lose out to Efnick. Give Mark Richards a little spook and a fright. Now Efnick ahead of Richards. Can Richards do anything with the draft going into the final few minutes? Carino is behind Sicosio, but the gap there is substantial. Traffic giveth, traffic taketh away. No love lost there, as the Italian was not playing favorites between the two GTP drivers. Mark Richards and Efnick here. Oh, to the inside of Panasonic. Mark Richards opens the sardine can, and it's a little fishy in there, but Richards got that one done. Well done, Mark, indeed. Absolutely tremendous stuff to get that move done on Ethnic. What about the final spot on the podium in the GT3 category? It's not over yet, folks. Carino and Sicosio. Nose to tail there. Nose to tail between Ethnic and Richards. Nose to tail here between Casimiri and Pendinelli. Ten minutes remain in this event. Casimiri definitely is feeling the pressure in the final 10 minutes. Here we go. Too far back to make anything happen for Pendinelli. But is there no doing for the battle for the lead either? Carino all over the rear wing, but we'll stay here. And Pendinelli and Casimiri, I have a feeling like this is going to be the next one to blow over. I wonder if anybody has to make a last-minute splash and dash to make it to the checkered flag. The big push. The big push now. The Aston Martin in front. Well, 3 wide action going on to lap 57. Let's take a look at Pim Van Gastel as well. Gastel from the Ardent Motorsports organization. Van Gastel and the Ardent Motorsports team is up, down 1 overall. They've had a hard charge this evening. Take a look at the timeline. It all happened or unfolded at the beginning part of the race, and then ever since then, it's been a recovery drive, to say the least. Oscar Corbett desperately tries to hold on to that position of 6, but Gastel pretty clear and alongside. Big pinch given going into turn 1 of Daichi. It will be Gastel able to get ahead. 5 minutes remain in this event here in the foothills of Fuji. Drivers desperately trying to hold on to make it on fuel, tires, and their own mental fatigue. Corbett, what can you do? From P7 currently. They're getting a little help from Van Gastel up ahead. Oscar Corbett still trails this battle. I'm not calling it quits just yet, folks. It's not over till the fat lady sings, and I haven't started sung it yet. Back 3/4 of a second. Might be too far back to make anything happen this time by. Bernie not waving the white flag for us. This lap plus one more. Final countdown. A bittersweet moment as we come to a close, but my hopes and dreams, my money, my bankroll was set on Oscar Corbett tonight in that 998 for a potential podium. Same for Mark Richards. Oscar Corbett made a good look there. And into the hairpin, no doing just yet. but it will be Thomas Oliviati crossing the line and taking victory here at Fuji, with Dan Miller taking P2. Dan Miller came down pit road on lap 59, having to take that extra pit stop, cost him dearly. James Piper is going to come home with the podium and round it out in third. Mark Richards in fourth there, and over to the GT3s. Gusto Sicosio takes the victory. Casimiri in second, and Pendanelli for TWR. Let's take a look at our results, shall we? It'll be Thomas Oliviati, Dan Miller, and James Piper, the 1, 2, 3. And James Piper being that hard charger tonight. Dan Miller had the most laps led, but that last extra pit stop cost him dearly. Mark Richards in fourth for the Sausage Dodgers in the lead there. And then Michael D. West, Pam Van Gastel, Oscar Corbin, Rodden Ethnic, Oleg Karmanov, Paul Cook, Tim Williams, Mauro Gaviati, Marino Clark, Roberts Ford, Benedict Vizzo, and then we have Konstantinos Nikolaitis in the GTPs. Over to the GT3s, it was Augusto Scosio, Alejandro Casimiri Ale, and Mattia Pendanelli. Two Racing Point drivers, and the TRT driver coming home in third. Vincenzo Tagnito for SimDrivers.eu in fourth. Diego Antonio Fiore comes home following that. Damiano Bellino, Mattia Ubertali, Alicio Carino, Andrea Zavidin, Ladislav Babarak, Nick Ewers, George Angela Kapoulis, of course. Carol Sula, Andrew Casterton, Artem Fomin, Koz Sitnik, Wehal, and Visconti round out the 19 in the GT3s. Let's get talking to our drivers, shall we? And see how they fared for today's race. See none in the waiting room. Give them a few minutes to get loaded up. And while we do that, we can take a look at this race start, shall we? And there's how maddening it was. The GT3s going to the outside line and trying to go for passes on the grass on the GTPs, going to turn one. Got Dan Miller and James Piper ready to get interviewed, so let's go ahead and talk to them. First, we'll talk to Dan Miller and see how his drive went so far. Hey, Dan, how'd your race go up until lap 62 there?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I had good pace. I'd never driven this track until yesterday, so I was really happy with how I was going. I just
it was just impossible for me to save the fuel. I would have had to save like 4 laps to not have to do that extra pit stop. So I don't think anybody else in the Porsche managed to do a 1 stop. So I think I was kind of just doomed based on the car I was driving. But yeah, it was okay. It was a good race. Just a bit gutted about that at the end.
It wasn't a good race, Dan. It was a great race and a great drive by you. All things considered, you had the pace and definitely had the consistency to drive it home tonight. Now, here at Fuji, what were your keys to the race and what were your keys to finding the rhythm to your success?
Just not overheating the rear tires in the final sector, to be honest, so that you didn't have ideg and you didn't spin. And yeah, just being cautious behind the GTs, especially in that final sector. But yeah, just getting into a flow and just not trying to overdrive was the main thing.
Yeah, we saw a lot of drivers kind of overdriving or working the wheel a little too hard, especially coming out of Panasonic, that final corner and almost drifting to carry the speed through there. Was it a technique, a strategy, or
No, I just practiced enough, found my limit, and just stuck to it. I didn't try to go faster in the race than I did in practice, because those corners, they feel like you're going so slow through them, but that's just the way you have to do them.
Yeah,
yeah.
Especially when you're going so fast through Sector 2 and 300R, you're going just at a crawling pace through that final sector, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can overtake the GTs easily in the first part of the lap, but the last part you have to go tuck behind them because you're basically the same speed. Yeah.
Dan Miller, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out on your podium today?
I think my brother was watching. I was told he messaged in the chat. Maybe my dad as well. So yeah, shout out to them.
Right on, Dan. Thanks for supporting Sausage Dodgers Racing. We appreciate you showing up week after week.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Thanks so much for what you do as well. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right.
No problem, Dan. See ya. And last but not least, it looks like we have the man from the 999, James Piper, no longer a student driver as he finds himself on a podium. James Piper, how does it feel to be on the podium here at the mountain of the foothills of the mountain of Fuji?
It feels really good. After last week, due to an incident, I missed out on the podium, but it's finally good to get back on the podium again for third, fourth time. So really happy to be on the podium.
Yeah, you always flirt with the idea that when you get on, you're going to do something dramatic, James. So come on, let's have it. What is it going to be?
Yeah, the fuel. I think it was one other Ferrari driver that just with the fuel, he went basically the same laps as me. Like he only had to pit once, and everyone else had to pit twice, and it really helped me out there. I have to only pit once.
Yeah, James. Like I said, you always say that you want to do something fun and goofy on the stream. When you got this coveted podium, is there anything you want to do, James, on this podium today to celebrate?
Just well done to me, I suppose, for getting podium. That's my target of coming in this race. Is always to get top 3.
No Charizard comments or anything like that.
Oh,
James?
the Charizard, yes, the Charizard.
Okay, all right.
If you wouldn't allow me to say that, so I didn't want to say that.
All right, James. Any shout outs or any gratitudes you want to give today?
Just a shout out to all the STR guys and everyone that was in the VC. Especially drivers like Mark and that who got very unlucky. That made me get a positive out of it. So just a shout out to all of them, every week, on the call and stuff. Really good guys. So yeah, shout out to them.
100%. Thank you very much, James. Really appreciate you supporting Sausage Dodgers Racing. Have a great night, my friend.
You too as well, Sagar. Goodbye.
Take care. We'd like to give our gratitude and thanks one more time to our title sponsor, Big Power Hunters, partnering with Sausage Dodgers Racing for bringing us the green to checkered flag tonight. On behalf of Sausage Dodgers Racing, I'd like to give my gratitude to all the Sausage Dodgers team and drivers for showing up and showing out. Having 35 drivers show up to an endurance race like this and make it to the checkered flag is no easy feat. So thank you very much to everybody for showing up, showing out, and showing us what you're made of. On behalf of Big Power Hunter, on behalf of Sausage Dodgers Racing and AK Esports, I've been Sagar Bakshi, taking you from green to checkered flag. Have a wonderful night. And as always, make sure you stay safe out there. Goodbye for now.